right, so let's see what goes on. I'm not seeing. Oh, good. What's happening? What's happening? What's up? Let's see. 2D47. D47. We are going to. It's a Friday, so hopefully I don't spend too much time here trying to solve these questions. Well, anyways, let me quickly go over certain things. I'm trying to solve this question, right? The zigzag conversion problem, which is very it's an interesting question. Yeah. So zigzag conversion, let's see. The string, I started explaining this question yesterday, by the way, so I'll go over it again and try to explain it once again. Yeah. I mean, I actually plan to cover strings and stacks today, but I'm not sure I'll be able to do that. So let's see what goes on. This is very interesting though. Okay. Right. So we are given a string. PayPal is hiring. Right. The string PayPal is hiring is written in a zigzag pattern on a given number of rows. Like this, you may want to display this pattern in a fixed font for better eligibility. Now, this is the way the wrote the PayPal is hiring string in a zigzag pattern on a given number of row. For example, on this row now, it's written on 3 rows, right? And yeah, so we then combine every row to form the zigzag pattern like this. So write the code that will take the string and make this conversion on a given number of rows. I still hate this question, even though I've spent time understanding it. I still don't like the question at all. But anyway, let's see what we can make of this. So I started explaining this question yesterday, and I'll go back on the explanation and re-explain it the way I understood the question. So here is our string, the reverse form of this is our final answer, by the way. The zigzag version of PayPal is hiring, right? I'll copy PayPal is hiring here and use that as as the string we are going to look at. I'll take this and change the color. All right, so here's our string, and we want to rewrite this string in a zigzag pattern on 3 different rows, right? So how do we do that? Well, first of all, we need to understand what rewriting the string or converting the string into a zigzag form is, right? So let's say, for instance, one of the easiest way to understand this is looking at this as distributing each of the characters into different rows, right? And in a real world, much simpler example would be to distribute each of the characters in the string into different buckets, right? Our buckets will be the strings, so the rows, right? So I'll represent the rows with buckets like this. So we have one bucket here, right? Another bucket here like this, and the third bucket here like this. Now, if you think of it this way, let's say we want to distribute every string on this row by just every string in this, every character in this string into these different buckets by just going forward, right? We'll distribute from this point all the way to this point, right? And then from this point back to this point, right? Now when you look at it this way, right, it becomes simpler as to what we need to do, right? So here's what we need to do. We take the first character here, we put it in the bucket, right? P. Second character goes to this bucket here, and the third one here comes to this bucket here, right? And then we want to move back towards the first bucket again. So we put, you know, when we leave this last bucket, we meet the second bucket, right? On our way towards the first bucket, we meet the second bucket. So we'll put the character here, right? The character at this point, which is this P here, and then we'll do the same thing. When we see an A, we'll put an A here. L, we'll put L here, and then I will put I here, right? And then we'll go back again. S will come here, right? H will be here, and then we'll come here again. I, R here, right? R will be here. We'll have another I again, right? Another I, and then an N, and then a G, right, which is the last character. Now we'll then combine every character in each bucket, right, to form a string. So the first bucket will have this string here. So I'll just put an arrow here and say this will be P A H N. Yeah, P A H N. And then the second bucket will have A P L S I G, right? And then the third bucket will have Y I R, right? And then we'll combine every one of these strings, right? So from each bucket, so we'll have P A H N, right? A P L S I G Y I R, right? So this is the zigzag version of PayPal is hiring here, like this. So yeah, that's how we can reverse this string, right, to have, you know, the zigzag version. So let's move to the you know, our code editor to code this out. So this question is number 6, zigzag conversion. So I'll put this here, take this. It is a string question, by the way, so I will just put it in string, right? Do I have strings here? Yeah, so I put arrays and string in the same place. Oh, that's not nice, is it? Okay, so let's put it, let's code, I think number what, 7 6. Okay, number 6. So new file, I'll create a new Python file, call this leet-6 and call this zigzag. I think the font is a bit small now, so let's increase this to, you know, 200. Okay, that is good. So I'll copy whatever we have in the string, right? Here I'll copy everything here, the boilerplate, so I can make use of this to solve this question. Okay, so let's see what we can do now. So first of all, we need some edge cases, right? We need to really understand what we need to do. So let's understand the constraint here. Now the constraint is such that our input string can be of can be between this range, right? Between one can have a length of 1 and between 1 and 1,000, right? So S consists of of English letters, lowercase and uppercase, right? And commas and this full stop, right? So we can have all of this, right? We can have all of this as part of the string. It doesn't matter what we see, so all of them will still be English alphabet characters, right? So we can then use this to make our conversion, right? So let's say in the case where the string is just 1, right? It's just 1 or has a length of 1, then we can just simply return the string, right? Because we don't need we can't distribute one character on multiple rows, right? And also, if the number of rows is superior to the length of the string, then we still return the string S. So here's what I need to do. I'll simply come here and say, if the number of, so I'll say the length of the string should be n. So n is equal to length of S, right? Length of the string. And we'll do this. We'll say if n is less than the number of rows, num rows, or S is equal to 1, right? Sorry, n is equal to 1, n is equal to 1, then we simply need to return the string S like this. Otherwise, we will start our actual operation. So here's what we need to do. First of all, we need to create like I said yesterday, we need to represent our buckets, and to represent our buckets, we need to create a number of rows, right? We need to represent each bucket by each row. So at the end of the day, we'll end up with a matrix, right? So let's say we have 3 buckets. We want to distribute this into 3 buckets, right? So our bucket will simply be an array, right, inside another array. Since we want 3 buckets, right, I'll call this bucket. We'll represent this with 3 arrays. So we'll have 3 arrays like this. Now we don't know how many items we'll put into each of the arrays, right? Or in other words, we don't know how many columns we'll have. So the reason why I'm saying that is there's an explanation in this discussion here, right, that I read, and the person said in the question, right, we need to convert the string in zigzag pattern. That is I think we have a 2D array, right, with row n and no limit of column, and write the given string in this format. First go from top to down, writing each character, then go to the next column but one above the row, right, until you reach the top row, and follow this pattern repeatedly for every character in the string, right? So we represent our each one of these. So here's what our entire result is going to be basically. So we'll have buckets, right? Buckets here will represent the rows, the number of rows we are given. So the number of rows in which we want to distribute each of these characters, right? So, and then what we will do at the end of the day is combine every value we inserted at this point, right? Or before that, we'll iterate through the string. Let me represent this in a more simpler way. We'll iterate through the string. Let me call this A, B, C, D, F, right? Just imagine this is our string, right? And we want to convert this into a zigzag form on 3 different rows, right? So here's what we need to do. First of all, we create the rows on which we want to distribute these strings. I'll create this, right? Now this is an array, this is an array, this is also an array, but the entire thing is 3, right? We know this is going to be 3 rows. Now what do we do next? We need to start distributing, the values or the characters in our input string into each one of these rows, right? So now you can see I did not close any of these arrays because I don't know how many characters are going to fit into each row until I'm done inserting each character. I don't know what happened. My internet just got disconnected. Wow. That is strange. Very strange. So we insert the next character here, right? This F here into this row, and at the end of the day we'll combine every value. So since we reach this point here, right, we know we are at the end, so we can close this off, right, and combine every character. So this will be AD, and then we'll have BCF, right, and this will be C. So we'll combine from top to bottom, so we'll have AD BCF, and then what is this? I don't know why I inserted C twice, but anyway, you get the gist. So that is how we will reverse, convert our string into a zigzag pattern. So let's go ahead and do this. So I'll first of all create the number of rows, right, that we need. Now the number of rows, I'll call this buckets. So this will be our buckets, right, into which we want to distribute every character. So this is the bucket, and the bucket is simply a matrix, right, an array of arrays. So how many arrays are we going to have? We are simply going to have as much as the number of rows, right? So I'll say for represent this, return an empty array for I, right, or I don't even need I, for range of number of rows. Okay, so in range of number of rows. Okay, so here's what we need to do. Now our bucket has been created, so what we do next is to iterate through each character, right? So I don't even need I, so I'll just say for character in the string S, right, we need to start inserting those characters in the into our bucket. Now how do we know where we need to start? In which row we need to set the current character? So we'll need an index, right? An index, I'll say, I'll call this index. Index is simply going to be equal to since we are starting from the first row, right, we'll put this at 0, right, so that we'll be able to do something like this. We'll say bucket at index, right, dot append this character here. Now you can see there will be a distribution of of characters into each one of these rows, but this time around, if we run this code, right, every character will be inserted into the first row only. We won't be able to insert into the other rows because the index remained the same. The index did not change, right? So one way to do this is to increment the index, right? We could do this. We could say, bucket plus equal 1, right? So we increment the index plus equal 1, index plus equal 1. We increment the index by 1, but this will only work for the first number of rows, right? Because at the end of the day, the number of characters in the string will be more than the number of rows, right? And we don't have any more rows beyond the last row, or number of rows minus 1, right? We don't have any more buckets in that particular row. So what we need to do then is to have a a reducer. I'll call this a reducer. Our reducer will reset whenever we reach the bottom bucket or the bottom row, so that we can start moving back upward, right? So I'll call this the reducer. The reducer is going to be equal to 1 at first, right? So every time I'm iterating through this string, right, I'm iterating through each character in the string, I'll simply add, plus equal the reducer, right? Sorry, reducer, right? Now, which means every time we are iterating through the string, I'll add one more of the reducer to the index, right? So every time I'll add one more, and I'll add one more in every iteration. But then again, this will still cause the problem of having, out of ranged buckets, right? Because at the end of the day, if we added, let's say we want 3 rows, right? Meaning we'll have rows from 0 all the way to 2, so that is 3 rows. Now if our index became if our index here became 3, right? Let's say we iterated 3 times in this loop here. If this loop ran 3 times, right, it means we'll reach a point where the index will now become 3, and we don't have any bucket at index 3, right? We don't have any bucket at index 3, so we need to put some edge cases here to check, when we reach the end, right? We've gone past how many buckets we are supposed to insert each character into. So here's what we need to do. We'll say if the index, right, if the index is equal to if the index is now equal to the number of rows minus 1, right? We can't put number of rows itself, right, because we want 1 less than the number of rows, because we start counting from 0, right? So if this happened, then what we do is we'll reset our reducer, right, because we want to move back upwards. So we'll say reducer, right, should be equal to -1, and the same thing. So else if the index is now at the top, which means it's at position 0, if it's equal to 0, then here's what we need to do. We reset our reducer to 1. So reducer is going to be equal to 1, and yeah, so that's how we'll insert each character in the rows. I'll just take some things. Let me take this string here, right, and show you what happens in this case. So I'll open my code editor again. So let's just test this out. Now we are not done with the function. There's still more to do, but I just want to show you the distribution made, right? So I'll say solution is equal to solution here, right? And then we'll print. So let me just paste this here, right, which is our input. Let me paste this here like this. We don't need this though. This is not god. Okay, I did this, so I can bring this down here. Okay, we are good to go. I'll just say this is going to be let's print the solution to see what we have at each point. Now I'll print the buckets, right? I'll print the buckets for you to see how the characters have been distributed into each bucket. So I'll print the buckets here. Okay, so let's see. So let's call the function solution dot convert this s into num rows. Okay, so it's simply this s and this num rows here. All right, so let's run this and see. Now you can see we have 3 arrays within our, larger array, and then each character has been distributed in each array, right? And you can see our string, has begun to, take shape. We can see the zigzag version of our initial string, right? So let's take this and let's so what we need to do next is to combine each one of these into readable strings, right? Because right now it is an array within our larger array, or in other words, it's a matrix. So it's a 2D array for now. So here's what we need to do. I'll combine everything in the array by just saying, okay, for I in range of the length of the buckets, right? So I'll say buckets, each bucket at I, right, should be equal to a combination of every character. So we will have a single string, right? Join bucket at I. So bucket at I like this. And then when we print the bucket, you will see we no longer have each character separated like this. They become a single string, right? So now you can see we have a single string like this. So what we need to do next is to simply return these strings as a single string. So let's just do this. So I'll say return an array, a string of this each character in the array. So let's say buckets. Yeah. So this print statement won't work anymore, so will no longer work. Let's just remove this, right? So we can return the bucket now. What is this? I don't know. So I've transformed. What's happening here? Let me see. Oh, okay, I'm not printing the output. So let's say print this. So we should get our string. Yeah, so this is our string at the end of the day. This is the reverse version of the string we want to output this zigzag form of. So let's copy this and run this in LEETCODE. I'll just copy here, right, for test cases. So let's test this out. So here we have this, right, and then let's run this to see whether it works. Hopefully it does. Yeah, so we've passed the 3 test cases here, right? A will be A and so on. So let's submit this and see the answer. Oh, something happened. Okay, so index exactly out of range. So why is that happening? So number of rows is 1, and we have more characters than number of rows. Oh, okay, so if we have more characters than number of rows, we need to put this or n is superior to number of rows, right? How many test cases have we passed over? 12. Wow, Christ, that's too early. Return the string. Right, hold on, something else is happening again. 127 test cases passed. So PayPal is hiring. What's the input string? That's How many number of rows do we have here? This is not this is not funny at all. So we want to distribute on 3 rows, right? PayPal is hiring on 3 rows, right? So let's see. PayPal is hiring on 3 rows. How many rows did I give here? Input is PayPal is hiring. Number of rows is 3. My output is PayPal is hiring. How? No way. This is wrong. I disagree. What? Let me put S2 here. S2. It's the same string. So, I mean, how come it says, what is going on? This is not right. This is not my output at all. Yes, you expected this, and that's what my function is supposed to get. I mean, this is the same test. I mean, these 4 rows, right? And I tested for 3 rows here. So why is it not working? There's no way this is happening. Oh, okay, I know why. This condition here. Let's see. I mean, that's what we needed to do, right? So let me submit this and see where it failed again. Right, it will fail somewhere here. So it is out of range, right? So we had more. So if the number of rows is equal to 1, so or num rows is equal to 1, right? I mean, if this is 1, I don't think we need this. We don't need that. If this is equal to 1, then we can just stop. You know. Yep. So the test case has been passed, and wow, for the very first time, I'm somewhere here. This is awesome. But somebody is already here. I mean, oh, okay, 0.9. Great. Yeah. So multiple trials. Runtime error. Okay, so I'll push this to GitHub, and I think I'll round up for the session today. So git add. Oh, sorry, I need to exit this. Yeah, I did this. I changed something here. So instead of doing this, we can say if number of rows is equal to 1, num rows, right, is equal to 1. And this is the correct solution, so you can have access to this in the description. So this is so let's do this. So this git add, git commit -m leads. So this is a string question, so I'll put string, and this will be LEETCODE this will be LEETCODE number 6, right, like this. So git push origin main. Okay, so that has been pushed. 1 2 3 go. All right, my time is almost up. It is exactly 1 minute away and I'm done for today. This session was quick. I would have done 1 hour, but I haven't got the time. I hope I could go, an extra. What do you say? Let's implement a simple linked list, right? Just to reinforce our memory. So let me just do that quickly, just as a token for revision. Oh God, my time is up. I wish I could do it. Oh damn. Sorry guys. We'll see tomorrow again to continue. We'll continue tomorrow. Continue with new examples, new topics, or new questions.